quiet was a whisper. A voice that wasn't heard. Drowning in the echoes of people screaming to be heard.
Hi, I'm Vit Debacco. I play guitar, I play a little harmonica here and there, and I write songs and sing as well.
I started about 11 days ago. I got on the album. The bass player that originally he played on the album on the tracks, you'll hear him on the CD. He had some things come up with his personal life. He got too busy, so I got a phone call from the drummer Eric, and he asked if I could do it, and I said sure. So I learned the album in a day. We had a rehearsal 2 weeks ago, had a follow-up rehearsal last Wednesday, and ready to rock for the album release on a Saturday.
So I got involved with this way back at the beginning. I had known Vit through Acoustic Cafe for years, back when we were at Club Cafe before we moved to Mr. Smalls, and I knew that he had played in bands in the past, the Highland Brothers, and he had done a lot of really great lead guitar work, but he had never really fleshed out his songs for a band outside of the occasional impromptu sit-in with the band at Acoustic Cafe, whoever the house band was. And so he approached me a couple of years ago asking, hey, I'd like to record an album, where do I go from there? And so 13 months ago, actually, it was December of 2017, holy crap. We had our first sit down back then, sitting in Vit's living room and listening to acoustic demos of the songs that he had been working on and fleshing out over, in some cases, years, and talking through the orchestration for the songs, which instruments were going to be a part of it, what players we wanted to be behind those instruments, and it just turned into this, actually snowballed into a very involved but necessary process, and from there we sorted out all the arrangements and started tracking at Mr. Smalls, I want to say back in the spring, like late spring of 2018.
I got started in music when I was very young. I liked the sound of the organ in church, so I started playing organ, and I ended up playing around on the piano. And I also got into playing banjo because I heard hee-haw one night when I was a little kid, and I was all about that. So that's where I started, and then kind of eventually picked up a guitar and taught myself.
So I met Vit when my band, the Beagle Brothers, was playing a gig. He came up and talked to me and said that he was a great admirer of the steel guitar, and he always wanted to have it on his record. So when he was recording this album, he reached out to me and said he had ideas on 2 songs. So I ended up playing on 2 of the songs, but then for this rehearsal, I'm playing on almost the entire record. So it's blossomed into something even bigger than initially thought.
Stars that shine so brightly, so bright that I can't see.
So I have played with Vit and seen Vit play more than any other musician. He's just fun to play with and put shows together with because he brings in a really great crowd, and so I've just always loved playing with Vit and watching him play and hearing his songs progress and hearing him progress as a performer. And he's just such a nice guy. I have to stress that. Like, super, super nice guy. You just want to work with him. And so when he asked me to do some songs, I just, yes, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I've been singing harmonies to his songs for a few years, to myself in the audience. So yeah, I'm just super familiar with his music, and I love it. And so why I love it, his album, is because, well, it's all familiar, right? So I've been hearing these songs for a few years in different ways, and so to hear it all come together is really great. But Vit, first of all, is just a really quiet guy. And so he took charge, you know, and was able to like put this really masterful thing out, and I think that speaks a lot to his growth. And the other thing that I love about it is that you can just listen to it. It can be your soundtrack for anything, like taking a bath or muting the news, you know, and just listening to that, or on your way home, or while you're painting a bedroom. I don't know, like it's just good for any kind of mood, really. And it's really awesome, and I'm really pumped about it. So it's awesome.
So the interesting thing about Writer's Tears is it's a collection of songs I've had, some of them for a long time, some of them for about a year. And one of my goals was to put it together in some kind of sense that makes sense, you know, some order that tells the story lyrically and musically that I wanted to tell. And then hopefully other people, it'll be something. It doesn't have to be the same thing to them, but hopefully, you know, people will dig it that way too. But so like Just Hold On's a song that is from 2 bands ago I'd written when we recorded the CD. I believe it's about 15 years old, and it's the oldest song on the album. All the way to the first song on the album I wrote roughly about a year ago with the specific intention to start the album with. And that would be Who I Am.
So sweet, your shadow dream, nothing like the floor. You've got nowhere to go, you don't know what you're looking for. Just be lost, we don't need to see the light. And I see the look in your eyes, I know everything's alright. Just got that feeling, yeah, like a bomb. Now I need someone to come and save me. I know somehow I got to hold on. Just hold on.
Well, Vit reached out to me on a recommendation from our mutual buddy Danny Rechtenwald, and that's how I became involved with this album.
What I like about the album is it clearly comes from the heart. If you listen to it, Vit's just an authentic guy, just genuine, and you can tell that he's singing what he feels.
Someone in all sounds, just silent choir singing all along. Voices come and voices go. Echo while we climb the stone. Oh, I've got faith.
What do I like about Vit's album? That's also a good question. I like, he's got some really killer hooks. Just songs that just stay in your head. Like, I got to sit in at Mr. Smalls while he was recording when Reed Connolly was doing the pedal steel for It's Gonna Rain and for Veni Vidi Vici. And It's Gonna Rain was stuck in my head for like 2 weeks after. It's got like a simple lilting melody that just stays with you. So I like 2 things. I like the fact that he writes some really good hooks, and I also like how his lyrics scan poetically. So I like their meter, I should say. I like the lyrical meter that he works with.
So I have issues with like depression and anxiety, and I love I tend to fall into this like habit of being really apathetic about the world, and then running across something that gives me such radical hope that I'm like, that's why I'm alive, and that's what Vit's album does for me.
Decisions I can't decide, but you'll probably never know. Things I can't take so lightly, weigh on me like the world. I hide from when you call me a friend. I must be keeping me holding for that police.
One, just being so involved with the record, I'm constantly discovering new little elements of Vit's songs, and that's a real gift to be able to do and to be able to be a part of with a songwriter. Some songwriters are very one-dimensional, and through all the mixing sessions and all the tracking sessions and just all the repeated listening and all the time living with the material, these songs have really pleasantly surprised me in the fact of how much is going on in there and all the little details that keep coming to the surface. And also just the fact that his songs can exist both as a solo acoustic performance and as a full 11-piece band. You know, that's not something that every songwriter can lay claim to. And that's a sign of a very talented songwriter, and has made it a true joy and pleasure to be able to be a part of.
So my friend Eric George, who plays drums on the album, approached me. We've known each other for probably close to a decade at this point, and he's been to various things that I've played at and asked me if I wanted to be part of the album. They were looking for string players, and you know, you gotta find those in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I was super pumped. He's a really talented musician, and pretty much anything he was gonna be a part of, I had a lot of faith in.
I ended up on Vit's album by just knowing him through music. We both go to the same open mics and circles, and I've sung with him from the audience many times, also heckled him. So it turned out well, and he invited me back. I really liked the whole recording process. Every one of the professionals made it absolutely flawless. I was able to explore what I wanted to do with the music, hear what they wanted, and then we compromised, and it was a lovely process.
And I linger unspoken. Was it just a dream that I can't believe? On my shoulder, ocean gray. Wash over me, I can see the world. The gray clouds rolling, ocean through. I wish I would.
One of my favorite things about the album is the collaboration of different styled musicians. He really made sure that there were different textures and instruments included, and there's so much talent in Pittsburgh, and it's being showcased on this album as well as showcasing this incredible songwriter. So to see all of these things put together and then to be included is very special. So that's one of my favorite things about the album.
So the really cool thing I think about the Pittsburgh music scene is there's just a ton of talent. You know, you can go out any night of the week and there's opportunities for people to play, you know, open stages or to just set up a show and grab some friends and go play somewhere, you know. And that's really cool to me, you know, and even, you know, to just go out, hang out and watch your friends play or catch some new people play. It's just happening all the time, and the talent is just endless. people that played on this album, and I'm really thankful that they were, willing to share their time and their talents. I mean, that just thrills me to no end. A lot of that came, from what I heard in my head, and a lot of that came from playing at Acoustic Cafe on Monday nights, and having the house band jump up and play the songs, and trying different instrumentation, and just hearing it. And it's really cool when you get to do that, and you have no idea what's going to happen, and that's how a lot of this came to be. I'm Vit Debacco, and Mr. Bones knows me.